Hello everyone and welcome to my Ascension messages. My name is Bobby and I will be your guide for today. Hello Jeannie in the chat bar already before anyone's even here, even before me. Good to see you here. I'm glad you made it. Okay, today we're going to channel some messages. Before I start, just to let you know, I have a school called AMAKEL. It's an amazing, cool, intuitive school. It has lots and lots of telepathic games that take you on journeys, goes into spaceships and all sorts of things, but it's also telepathic games as well, into the elemental world, all sorts of things. I've just gone creative plus with these games. There's also like just dice games, coins games and stuff like that, but all intuitive telepathic games. And I also have lessons as well. So if you take the silver tier, that is the lessons and the games. If you take the ruby tier, it's just the games. So if you want to join in on that, I want to eventually start chats rolling. Like I want to actually get involved and have like lives going on there as well in the end. But I'm just like building it at the moment. It's all very new. So yeah, if you want to join in with that, that would be really fun to have you there. Hello, Sky, in the chat bar as well. Also, we have a GoFundMe that has been brought up by a follower and a subscriber. She is wanting to take me to New York to channel live on stage, and we are building that money up to get my flights and my accommodation happening and so forth. So if you want to go into that, and the links down below as well, but if you want to donate to that, then yeah, I'm going to give away 2 free readings for anyone that donates, like obviously just 2 readings, 2 times 30 minutes. We'll just pull them out of the hat, all those that donate, and 2 people will win that. So that's happening too, probably towards the end of January, where I'll pull that pull those names out of the hat, so to speak. And I am an intuitive counselor, a soul reader. So if you want a one-on-one reading with me, the link is down below as well. It just goes to my website, which is codestoanewreality.com. Right, housekeeping out of the way. Let's get into some channel messages. I actually had quite a few channel messages that I've been given during the week. I was writing them down. Some of them I was putting up on Facebook and that sort of thing. Some of them I was keeping. And then I just went, nah, I'm not doing that. I really want to tune in. I want to tap in just organically today to everything and figure out a few things of the energy that's happening around humanity's consciousness at the moment, how I can help the light workers, because mostly the people that do watch this sort of thing are light workers. And yeah, and see if we can shift up some things, change some things. So definitely talking about learning to create your own reality, change your reality, how to do that, and all of that sort of thing. So I think that that's what's going to come up in this reading. So yeah, we'll get into that as the messages start to come through, as I start to tap in. If anyone wants to know too, I'm not reading anything. For some reason I look down, and at the moment it's looking towards this way, and I zone into nothing. I don't even know what I'm looking at. It's just a zone. And so sometimes when I'm looking down like that, it's just I'm zoning in. For some reason I have to drop my eyes that way. I don't know why. I thought I'd let you guys know that, because maybe some people think I'm reading. I don't know. I also had a good friend of mine who was asking questions about the Cyanians, and I thought this would be a good time to actually bring up a little bit more about them as well, because we're going to have some contact happening throughout the decades coming. And she was asking about how I channel them. Are they is there like one? Are they like a group or whatever it is? And I told her that the ones that contacted me through a very vivid dream and started to tell me about these things that were happening right now, premonitions that were coming true, starting to come true now, and telling me that they're going to help me. There was 4 of them that came off this ship and turned into spirit balls and then morphed into a humanoid beside me, lying down. And the 4 of them, I don't see them as humanoids. I see them as how they presented themselves at the beginning, which was a vivid blue color. And I feel I connect into those 4. I'm not saying that others don't come in and are involved in the channeling, but those are the 4 that I really connect with. She asked me if I know their names, and they don't have names, because in the higher realms like that, it's not a name, it's a feeling. And so telepathy and all of that sort of stuff is, you just know who the person is. It's, for a good example, would be like if you had a friend that had two friends that had the same name. When the name was mentioned, you would have, okay, I don't know which one, right? And then when you found out, you would hone into that person through feeling, not through the name. You know the person by a feeling. That's the only way I can put it. So they don't have names, they just have a feeling, and they know who you're talking about, that sort of thing. And when I channel them through, I feel like they come together. I can see them as separate, but there is, and I know that they're separately communicating, but there's a feeling of just oneness, and that's literally how they describe connecting. They say namaskar to me. They say greetings. I recognize we are all one. And that's how I connect with the Cyanians. When I bring through their messages, it's more to do with source energy, seeing like as an observer above the whole picture, seeing from a higher perspective, seeing the game not just within it, but mainly the bigger picture kind of a thing. This is why this is happening from a bigger picture point of view. Humanity is going through a huge lesson, that sort of thing. That's how I know that that's a lot of their channel messages. The Pleiadians tend to go more delve into the story, the actual Pleiadians on Pleiades. And I see I have connected with a council before, and the council was of different beings, and the Pleaidians was one of the main ones in the council, high council, that I was connecting with. And they would ask me questions of what's happening here on Earth. And yeah, I know it all sounds pretty out there. So, I mean, mind you, everything that I talk about is pretty out there. So I might as well just spill the whole beans, right? Yeah, there's only specific times and moments in my life that I've been pulled or called to the High Council. It doesn't happen all the time, not at all. There's specific times. They kind of leave me to my own devices, and every now and then they will ask a question and so forth. So yeah, just turning on my fan because it's getting a bit warm here. Hey everyone in the chat bar. Hey Diane. Hey Debbie. Hey Arnie. Sorry, Annie. Sorry. And Rainbow. I have another subscriber called Arnie. I wasn't seeing the name clearly. Sorry, because it was in blue. Okay, we're going to channel some messages through though about more so to do with the energies that are surrounding us at the moment, how to cope and all of that sort of stuff. There was a big message that I got through last night from myself, and I will share that with you. I don't mind sharing some of my own like specific personal messages, because I do feel that I'm not the only one in that energy. Like there are other people in that energy, and they are like, you know, come on, we need to feel that I'm not the only one in that energy. Like there are other people in that energy, and they are like, you know, come on, we need some more answers. And so if I get some answers that I don't mind sharing and it wasn't too personal, then I will share. That message, let me just click in again to that one. That message was to do with A movement forward for the light workers, and feeling maybe, you know, having a rest. I'm certainly having a rest. Like, I've been given an opportunity, a gift of abundance of time. Literally an abundance of time. I can do what I want, when I want, as I want, like literally a gift within time. And I'm not saying that other light workers are right there, but through this transition, I've been asked to look inwards to empower myself. So there might be a time in the light workers at the moment that you are being asked to look within yourself to empower yourself. And one of the messages I got was, it can't end here. Because I'm like, my whole life has been trying to make something work, and it not working, and it not working, and it not working. And most of the stuff that I make work is well and truly beyond what normal human energy is. So in other words, like at the moment I'm creating an intuitive school, and it's not something that is happening normally out in the big wide world with the mainstreamers and that sort of thing. So I'm always like, they're showing me like getting a axe or something to cut through the bushes to make the path. Like, I'm making the path as well as creating the path, as well as putting myself out there and being the forerunners, and then asking people to follow. So light workers tend to do this. And because they're shining their light brighter than what is presently here on earth, and that's why we're called light workers. And so we tend to take bigger risks and don't follow the status quo sort of thing. But they said to me, it can't end here, even though things haven't worked for me in the past at all. And that's the energy that I've been used to being here. It's all I've ever seen is, yeah, I will do this crazy ass thing, and it never really works because I'm like 10 steps ahead of everyone else. They said that it can't end here because of everything that I've gone through. So I've seen a lot. I've gone through a lot of shadow work. I've gone through a lot of actually seeing things that others can't see. Frightening things sometimes too, and beautiful things too. But trying to ground all of that, being a normal human, bring up a family, 2 families actually, all single mum through the whole lot. So I've done a lot in the retrospect of pulling myself together and finding my feet. But they said it can't end here because of everything that I've gone through. I kind of gone through all of those messages, all of that, seeing all those things, having all those UFOs experiences, having all that contact with different beings, having all of the messages, and being able to, and also my whole life being pulled together where I didn't have any schooling in graphic arts. I didn't have any schooling with whatsoever. Like, I literally failed high school, and I did. I passed 2 subjects, and that was it. And then I just gave up and was going to be a jockey because I was really tiny when I was 16, 17, and I left school. And so even with graphic arts, I threw myself in the deep end and got myself a job as a graphic artist, even though I didn't know what I was doing. I literally had a ruler up on the screen to do the first job. I really didn't know, but I just crazily got my crap together, found a book, and learned all I could really fast. And that's how I've proceeded through my life. I kind of gone through all of that. Now I have these graphic art abilities. I have the singing abilities. I have the drawing abilities. I have the channeling abilities. I have all of the stuff that I have. They said it can't be for nothing. So I'm really feeling this pull with light workers. Like, that's a personal message for me. So in other words, this is just the start. It's the start of something new. So for the light workers that are watching, please, if you feel like you feel like I have been feeling a little bit lately, where is it ever freaking going to take off, that sort of thing, you can't have gone through everything that you've gone through, and you know what you've gone through, relationships that are broken up, all that sort of stuff, to try to show you know how important you are and take that importance back. And so much, like I've gone through a lot of that as well. So there's all these light workers that are, I think we've got in this rut of nothing ever really works because it's all we've ever seen. But this is our moment to shine. This is our time. This is where the light energy starts to, we start to understand that we're the creators, and to be the creators, we have to take the reins to our own reality and really make this happen. Now with that, they're bringing me to shifting the story, learning to shift your story. Don't let the outside world dictate to you. And I feel this goes across the board for a message for everyone that watches me. Don't let the outside world dictate to you how your reality is going to be. If you don't like what's happening in your outside world, you can, and you have the power to come back to central space to go, you know what? Let go of that story logical mind. Yes, it's playing out. I get that, but I don't like it. So I'm not going to give it attention. I really need to come back to central zone, and I really need to, and they can't emphasize this enough, learn to use your imagination to create or carve a path that you love. It's so important. And they keep bringing this lucid waking up, because they're saying that you think that you're awake, but you are actually asleep. That's why they call it waking up in the mainstream. We're waking up. They're all asleep, and because they're asleep, they're unconscious in such a state, in such a way that they haven't used their imagination to benefit their lives. And it's really important at the moment to recognize this, because there are going to be things that are going to happen in the next few years, especially, that the ones that are trying to control are going to try to pull the wool over everyone's eyes in a big way. And if you are still in that slumberland of being unconscious about your power and who you are, and then they'll just take your imagination for a ride and sweep all of that mass of people that are not using their imagination to benefit themselves into their story again, just like it was in the past. This is a pivotal moment. They're quite about this. Like, there's something about this energy that is quite on a pivot of something new happening, but it's not new that's happening outside of us first and we're waiting for it to happen. It's new that's happening within our psyche of ourselves, and how we're using our imagination, what we're going to be focusing on next. What do we actually want to see in this world? What do we want? Like, focus in on creating that business that you really want, that's going to be conducive for humanity to expand. Focus in on your family and the love between you and your siblings, parents, children, whatever it is. Like, focus in on the love between you and the animals and the species that are out there, and how you can connect stronger and closer and understand them even more from an intuitive response. And focus in on Mother Earth and what she's supplying, the rivers, and and don't focus in on the rubbish. Mother Earth told us in a dream majorly in this moment. Don't focus in on the pollution, the rubbish, because when you do that, you are literally strengthening that reality. They want you to focus in on the rivers being clean, the chickens being free, to run around, wildlife to be free, and humanity, when they need meat, the chicken will literally come into the reality for you to, because it wants its life taken by a human to be consumed, because it wants to have its soul have a closer energy field to humans, to be able to experience being a human in its next life, or the life after, or something like that. And so it's not, we get stuck at that word death. We get stuck at it, and it's how the cycle of life happens anyway. But and getting back to using our imagination for the benefit of humanity. When we have control of ourselves, our psyche, our inner direction, our inner compass, when we have control of our inner compass of where we want our minds to focus on, our imaginations to focus on, even our logic to focus on. When we want our hearts to focus on passionate ideas and stuff like that, and we have this really sense of, this is what I'm going to do. The jump, the so-called jump off the cliff, the Falls card, the jump off the cliff, is you trusting that that the universe will carry you. And I'm literally put in that place at the moment of jumping off a proverbial cliff into, going live on stage, relying on my work that I'm doing here at, on my YouTube and everything else. And it's transitional, where I'm like, no, I need to bring in some more money. And then, yeah, it's interesting. But then I realized there was one day there that I was in such a high vibe. And I really want to share this with you guys. I know it's my own experiences and stuff, but I think it's important. I was in such a high vibe that day that I got the most money I ever got for a long time. And but then the next day, I started going back into what went wrong in my life. And then I'm like, wow, I still have to clear that. I can't believe I still have to clear that. And I do, because you can't just put a Band-Aid on something. If it keeps coming up, there's a reason why it's coming up. Your energy field is still stuck or hooked into it. And so your imagination will float there. And then you start to move into that story again. And then all of a sudden, my money just dropped again the next day. And I'm like, okay, I get it. So when I'm in a high vibe. Now, how did I get in a high vibe? I literally imagined myself. I was driving around going, what would it really feel like to be a millionaire? What would it really feel like? And then I'm like, okay, if I had $1 million in my account, I would, all of a sudden, everything just lines up to you making different decisions in your life. You don't make the decisions based on lack. You make the decisions based on wealth, that you already have that. You make the decisions based on just love of life, who you are. I mean, that's my last nail in the coffin kind of thing, is the abundance card. I've shifted so much in my life, and now I'm shifting that. And it was amazing how, when I fell into not worrying about that, how it just came. Yeah, so there's something about that's happening at the moment in the energy field that's happening around humanity and light workers, especially at the moment, to help us navigate this plane of existence. You know how you tap in, maybe you've watched tarot readers or something on YouTube, and they're like, oh, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. But it's not happening to you. It's happening from you. You are the one that's shifting this. And humanity has been relying on their outside reality to tell them who they are for so long now, that it's really hard to take that reign back of, I am absolute responsibility. My energy field is my absolute responsibility of myself. What I'm creating outside of myself is absolutely responsible for myself. I take full responsibility for the place that I am in this moment and where I'm at. But I also take full responsibility for when it starts to work. And then all of a sudden we play these games in our heads. Oh, what if it works? Oh, that means such and such is going to want half of what I've got, or something like that. And we don't see the value. All of a sudden the value depletes, and we get caught in a story of what is again. If you don't know it 100%, let it go. If it's not serving you and you don't like it, you don't know it 100%, or even if you don't like it, let it go, because there's no point in holding on to this anymore. It's really, I want to be really genuine with this with you guys, so that together we understand this. We get to the point where we take absolute full responsibility for what we're thinking, how we're feeling, and then the actions will go after that. We've been doing this all backwards. We've been waiting for someone outside of us to tell us who we are, so that we can act appropriately to them. And most of those people that we're waiting for to tell us are, you know, people that are narcissists that are trying to control their worlds outside of them. Also, there is a be careful of an overworking mind that wants to control things, that has plays games of, well, I will do this, I will say this, and it's not because I'm trying to control, it's because I'm just wanting to get an answer. But really, you're already dived into the story to try to fixate on getting the answer, which is controlling somebody else as well. Be aware of your mind and the stories that it tells you that, oh no, I'm not controlling, but I will need to know this answer before I make a decision. So I'm going to try to pry it out of you. There's something to do with that too. I've done it before, and I've caught myself doing it. I'm like, I need to know the answers, so I'm going to manipulate the question to get the answer. There's something to do with that, to be aware of this as well. It is still you trying to control your outside world. It's not coming from surrendering and using your imagination to focus in on what you really want your world to be in, and just allowing the cards may fall, the people may fall where they fall. Let them fall where they fall. If they aren't ready to come with you, then they will fall away from you, and let that happen. Don't try to play a game in your head of, it's only a question. There's something to do with that too. Just be aware. There's a manipulative mind, especially with us that are light workers that are bright, and we've had to kind of move through this world without realizing our full power. And we can have the sense of manipulation that comes from the mind. And we tell ourselves stories so that we can control the outcomes, or control how we're going to respond, or something like that. And if the answer was meant to come to you without control, it will be gifted to you without you trying to control. Just let it go, let it flow, allow the person they will speak up as they're meant to. If you just send love to them, then they'll either be able to match that high vibrational love, or they will end up spewing the beans anyway, because the love won't match, and then they will end up saying what you probably wanted to know in the first place, which is who they truly are from the inside out. But it has to be met through love, not through force, through control, through mind manipulation, through, that it's really interesting what they're bringing through at the moment. And I'm trying to let this roll so that I can be as honest as possible with you guys through this, because these are points that maybe we don't want to address, we don't want to look at. And light workers need to look at and address that point of themselves where they are trying to control others, but they didn't realize they'd just been playing a game that's helped them fit into a world that was very unbalanced, because they were still unbalanced as well. But we kind of have this brilliant mind about us of how we can get through it without trying to taint our hearts so much, but it's still control. Yeah. So if you don't like the story that's happening outside of you, I would suggest coming back to Central Self and just going, you know what, this isn't how the story is going to work. Take a deep breath, and then imagine the story that you want, and going, this is the story where I want to come into my reality. This is the beautiful scenario that I would love to have in my reality. Now, you can't put people in boxes and put them in that story that's still trying to control, but you can have, these are the energies that I want to come in. This is the reality that I want to ride on. This is the lifestyle that I would love to have. And then allow the people to come and go as they need to. So a lot of us have been doing this shadow work, and a lot of the friends and so forth have been falling away. And that is because you haven't been trying to control the outcome. This is a bravery. This is the vulnerability of love. This is, you know how they say, if you really truly love somebody, there's a vulnerability with that. It's not to do with control. This is a relationship that we have to have with ourselves as we move through and learning to create, lucid creating, they're calling it. I might actually retitle this lucid creating or lucid awakening. if you've ever done lucid dreaming, that means that when you're dreaming, you have something happen in your dream that you don't like, and then you take the reins of that dream and you go, no, I'm going to focus it on this, and so you start to change up the dream. That's lucid dreaming. Same thing can happen when you are aware and awake, fully awake. You can go, I don't like the way that this scenario is going, because there are going to be spaces on this earth where it's going to be consuming itself, and there's going to be spaces on this earth where it's just going to be blooming, thriving. And so we want to match up with that thriving energy, and we want to grow it. And so if we are trying to control in any sort of manner, then we're already into the story, or entwined into the story of those that have been controlling. Even if you cannot lie to yourself now, you cannot be shy to yourself anymore. You can't do it. It's this is real. This is where they call that pivotal point of transmuting from a imbalanced reality that was only fixated on the third dimensional physical world to a they're showing me like an invert of that, and expansion out to the etheric world, which encapsulates the balance of oneself, and now like an X, where the pyramid meets an opposite pyramid of ourselves, and with that we end up becoming expansive in the etheric worlds as well. And we also learn through that point where it meets to make that love. Literally, it's reminding me of the Taurus field where source energy is in the center, and then it does that journey. But it's like an X. They show me an X, and make that point love. I love my physical world, and I love my etheric world. It has to come. All creations that are created from love is what you actually want. All creations created from fear is what you don't want. It's pretty basic, I say. It's basic. Oh my God, when you get into a human mind that's been so compromised and imbalanced, it doesn't feel basic. It feels like, oh my God, sifting through a lot, right? Oh my God. Okay, so Sky in the chat bar. I can understand that light workers are getting tired for doing all that work, and it feels like the world is never catching up to you. But we have each other in this community, love for ourselves. I love that, Sky. And that's, yeah, another reason I keep forgetting to bring this up, but thank you so much, Sky. I am going to open a Zoom up, just no recording, no live or anything like that, but a Zoom call for all of my chat bar friends and subscribers and so forth. If you want to join in on that Zoom call, we will introduce ourselves and say hi. That's on the 8th of January at 8 o'clock. Just email me if you want to get that link. I'll put the link up again, and I'll do a reminder closer to the time. But yeah, so that you will know. Just look out for my community page. Hey, Arnie, good to see you here as well. It took me truly looking at myself to see when I was manipulative. Yeah, it does. It does. Like, I can understand why I'm not getting up anyone for, I've done it. Like, everyone does it because we've had to fit into a manipulating world. It reminds me of someone that I know that was manic depressant, and they had 2 children, and then the children, the only way that they could survive because of the manic depressantness of their parent, they had to lie. They had to lie to get through there, to be able to survive. And literally humanity has been put in that box. We've been manipulated so much from the control sector that we have had to do covert manipulation to be able to survive in that reality of being unbalanced. So now we have to address that, because it's not going to come with us into the higher dimensions. We can't open up to these beautiful benevolent beings if we're still in a manipulative mind of I will, I'm not prepared to let this go and let this flow and let this and just enjoy my life. I need to have some sort of control of this, so I will sneakily ask all these questions and delve into you and make sure that you are what I think. You know, it's kind of that sort of sneaky, there's a sneaky kind of manipulative thing that can happen. I know, I've caught myself. Yeah, so that's interesting. Sky, yes, Arnie, we have these traits, and now I know it is a way of control over projecting, which never worked. It didn't work, did it? It didn't work because you ended up with getting caught into the story, and it ended up with the other person reacting in a response, usually reacting in a response of resistance. I don't like this. I don't want, there's something about this energy that feels yucky. I don't feel good about myself. I have to remove myself or something. It didn't work, doesn't work. And I think that's another reason why Lightworkers are waiting for a specific time in this present moment, because we're coming back into love of self and understanding just how vulnerable love is, but just how powerful love is. Vulnerability means that you are no longer trying to control it with your logical mind. It means you're letting go of it and you are trusting. Vulnerability is trust, but then the trust, because you trust, the universe responds with trust. And so you end up having trust coming back to you. Yes, you're making a leap into the unknown and you're trusting yourself. Oh my God, I'm going to catch you because you are valuable to this world. And so I will catch you. And that means I will give you the money, the time, the people that you need in your life in that moment. It will come for you. It's quite an eye-opener when you come back to realizing just how manipulative we are. And we go in and out of it because we're like, I don't like my life at the moment. I have to manipulate it. Even if you, and please realize that you can change your mind at any given moment. So if you have made a choice, I would like this to happen in my future, and then you feel into it. And then you're like, oh, I don't really like how that's feeling now. I thought it was going to feel different. Withdraw the story. Okay, I don't like that story. And now go, what do you actually want? Or if you don't know how to use your imagination to create or carve a new path, then leave it open out of vulnerability and faith and trust that just through loving yourself, the story is going to come back to you. Everything is going to be reflected. So if you're coming from love for self, it will be reflected back for that. So I'm just seeing if they're going to, where they're going with the next story. I feel like there's a few trying to interact at the same time here. Just there'll be a reason for it, but I just got to feel into what's coming. It's like a shift of energy. So there's a shift of the story. Something's happening. Just as I was talking about shifting up the story, but actual different channel messages trying to come through. Now I've gone blank. Okay, which is a good space to be in. Let's see what else comes through. Oh, that's so interesting. They're like, come back to the love of yourself. Do it in real time. Show them how it's done. That's so interesting. Okay, I love myself. And so now the next message, hello, is presented. Okay, don't be afraid to pause. That's another thing as well, they're saying. Oh, yeah, I've been concerned because when I've been channeling, I have been saying a lot of ums, and I'd like to get rid of those. And they said the only way to get rid of those is to feel safe in silence, even live. Okay, so that's why that happens. And to stop the ums and probably the ands. See, I'm still trying to fill it in. Okay, I get that. So they're also talking about the mind likes to fill things in. When we get comfortable within a space within our mind of silence, then what comes in is more pure. This is why the silence card comes up for some people in the tarot as well. They're showing me that silence card. Get comfortable in the silence, then the clarity will come more, as well as the ums will stop. But I'm just talking about even not myself, but even for yourself and creating the next journey that you want to create. Allow yourself to sit in silence. They're showing me a child that's staring out the window in wonder, but they look like they're looking at nothing. And they're just staring out the window and gazing there. And the teachers would go, "What are you doing? You should be listening to us." But that was a valuable moment that they went into a space of no man's land, and it actually should be embraced. Because when we're in a space of no man's land, we can shift the story, especially stories that we don't like in our reality. And learning to embrace that, just be present, is so important for this next higher frequency. They're showing me a master coming up to me, and a master just speaking, purely speaking from that central point of silence, clarity, and then they walk off. And that's all they needed to say. They are understanding, though, and I am like talking to them about this as well. It's like a conversation going in my head. I'm saying, yes, but humanity is used to all that busyness. So if we approach someone and we're very silent, the pause can be uncomfortable for them. And because they're used to their story being so in their heads. So if we get on stage, it's like a performance. I'm channeling, blah, 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 blah. I have to admit, sometimes the messages that come through in a feeling, and when something comes through in a feeling, it happens like that. It happens like that. Like the feeling is like quick. And then it takes me a moment to put it all into language and to be able to relay it to you guys. So then I'm trying to get it all out, all that frequency, that energy, that story, that understanding, all out in language, which is a very slow way of communicating. But they're still saying you would be, people would be more respected, and you would be more respected if you took this advice of allowing silence to be present, because it's also gifting the audience silence as well. So that's something I'm going to have to get used to as I go along. And maybe that will stop all of the ums as well. Diana, the nuns used to correct me for gazing out of the window. I know, right? I was corrected as well. And do you know, my intuition kicked in when I was a kid. I can remember thinking when I was a kid, I think it's a good thing that I'm staring out the window. I remember thinking that as a kid. So intuitively, I was already tapped in back then. But I was also thinking nobody else is allowed to do it, and maybe we're not allowed, we shouldn't be doing it. Anne, for me, silence is light. Yes, I absolutely can come into silence. But when I channel, it's interesting because it's just this crazy story, and then I'm trying to fill it in with the ums, maybe because I'm live. So I'm trying to get comfortable being live and not doing the ums and just having silence until the next message comes through. I think that's why they stopped me just before. They wanted to teach this lesson of how important it is to even speak to each other from the respect of self and the respect of the fact that I do know how to pull myself back to central space and silence. Feeling into that's quite interesting. That's another word I've got to stop saying. Interesting. I'm improving. I'm learning to improve myself by doing my Virgo super analyzing myself. It's quite funny. Hi, Celtic, you're a little late. That's okay. Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. It's New Year's Eve here in Australia. Last day of 2024. Oh my gosh, what a year. Holy crap. It has been an absolute phenomenal journey. And to land in a space of unknownness, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. And not knowing what's going to happen next is giving us the chance to do what I was talking about before in the channel message about lucid waking and changing up the story, giving us an opportunity to shift everything. Happy New Year to everybody that's in the chat bar. Yeah, like it's also falling on a new moon as well, which is really, really cool. New start, new beginnings, new everything, right? Giving us some space. Okay, let's see what other messages want to come through. Good to see all the interaction in the chat bar. Love that. Can't wait till you guys actually get to meet each other. Hey, Angel, good to see you. Hey, Lisa. Really fun. New moon in Capricorn. Thanks, Celtic. You are such a wise person. Create your own rules and intentions for 2025. That is really definitely what I've been discussing. So there you go. It goes with the astrology of everything as well. I love that. I love it when I channel something, because I don't watch other people's channelings or anything like that. I just like to have this clear with my guides. And I love it when someone gives me something later and says, oh, such and such has channeled that, or Bashar's channeled that. And I'm like, oh, it actually gives me such a good feeling. So I'm like, yay, I'm in the zone with all of those guys as well. It's really fun. Okay, what is happening? What's coming up for? Let's tap into 2025 while we're here, right? And see what's coming up. There's some powerful energies coming up in 2025, kind of like a shift or a change in perspective and that sort of thing. But also the power or the energy that's happening is so in your face that even those that are trying to keep control are going to really push. So don't hook into their story. Don't let your energy hook into their story. Segregate your energy into connecting with other light workers, the reality that we love to see on Earth, people waking up to their own sovereign selves and taking the reins to their understanding their souls better, they're taking reins to their imagination. Like, imagine all of that, or grounding everything on Earth, where we have. What I would really love to see in 2025, I think what I really want to focus in on is having free food available for people. Like, instead of growing these trees on the sidewalks that don't produce fruit, why not grow trees that produce fruit? Stuff like that. Like, why not grow food on the front lawn and get people really having fun with that, and not being afraid, to share food and all of that sort of thing. It's all free. It's free. It's only because we're caught into a system that it's not. There's communities that are going to be developing as well. They're showing me a reshuffling. It's really interesting, a reshuffling of energies, because light workers are going to start to pull together soul tribes, important soul tribes, and then others they show me some important groups are really going to start to form, but they're also showing me like people are still coming up the ranks of learning about their own sovereign selves and their soul and everything. They're going to be all reshuffling. So, and then they're showing me those that are still hanging on to the old paradigm are really going to have a hard time. They're going to literally create unwanted stories because they're creating through fear, and fear will only create what we don't want. So that's going to happen. They are showing me be careful in the spaces where the drones are, because there could be something happening there that won't be so good. So we have to bring our energy, pull our energy together to imagine all that isn't for the benefit of humanity to be like not working, erased or stopped, or it just falls away, or just pull our imaginations together to see things that are going to go against humanity's consciousness or physical bodies. If it's going to put harm in us, that it's just going to be either illuminated as the truth of what it truly is, so that people can wake up to that truth, or falling away if it's tangibly making an impact on people. There's going to be different realities playing out. Lots. I mean, Earth has trillions of different realities. Everyone's experience is a different reality. Every animal's experience is a different reality. So that's how many different realities are, as many as there are life forms. But there is this gathering that's coming together. And if I go into the Lightworkers, I really feel a pull for 2025 where a stronger, like, getting used to each other in a physical form, like literally pulling together physically as well, and then like-mindedness of understanding the mission, that finding the other people's what they're good at, and finding different pieces of the puzzle that you weren't good at, starting to slot in and create or form bigger businesses, bigger franchises, bigger communities, bigger tribes, whatever you want to call it, that are here that are working with Mother Nature. So, and understanding the missions. It is a coming together of understanding the missions and the part that you play in that mission. Everyone's going to be at the right place at the right time. Everything, there's divine timing. But what is divine timing, right? They're saying divine timing actually has always been up to you, because it's you taking back the reins to your own subconscious that you want to clear, to be able to be in line with the divine timing of the next thing that you want to bring in, or like abundance, or the journey that you want to take, the adventure you want to take, or the mission that you want to fulfill. Divine timing only happens when all of that held you bound is now been unplugged or unblocked. And so divine timing actually was always up to you. The rest of the world follows. It's okay. It's your universe. They're showing me the perspective of a human, and then a universe, which is one song that they're creating, one verse, one song that they're creating from their perspective that they know about, and them shifting their perspective into coming into a mirror reflection of the universe, or the song they're creating, that they really want. There's something to do with that. There's a power there. I know that much. There's a power there. some of the stuff that they give me, I can understand it, but I find there's not enough English words, to tell you the honest truth. Or understanding it. There's not enough. Yeah, like how do I even say that? It'll come to me. Hey, Luz, Lisa. They arrived. Okay. You are singing one song from your perspective. And that song, if you sing a song, you can touch many others. There is here, or the vibration, they feel the vibration of that song and they respond. If it's a love song that you are singing, if your perspective of your universe is love, then they will come back feeling like they can be more vulnerable within themselves and lighten their own load off their shoulders to be able to reflect back to you, them being love in your world. Yeah, that's the best way I can put it. That's the best way I can put it. And it's very powerful. They're showing me that it's very powerful. So it's just a matter of you changing up your perspective of your universe. So when you change up your perspective of your outside world, it can't come from not feeling it. It has to come from feeling it. Because if it doesn't come from feeling it, we're back in the old program again of everything outside of us. We just pretend that we're loving it and we're not really feeling into it. That's why they're saying it's a verse. It's a vibration. It's your universe. Now, there are multiverses out there. And they're showing me that's a collaboration of two people coming together to create multiverses. This is the tribes coming together, the soul tribes that have a specific mission, where one is lacking in something, the other will have. And so when we come together, there's a fulfillment that happens for the whole of the mission. Just before this happens, because of the energy exchange and the power of, or the magnetism between the two souls that are from soul tribes coming together, transference can happen where the first person that had the lack of and the second person that had the gift of that lack will come into, won't actually meet physically, and just before, like we're talking maybe months, weeks, days before, the person who's lacking will suddenly start feeling like they're understanding that lack more. And then when they actually physically meet, it's just going to be a harmonizing together because both are coming from wholeness of themselves. So the healing takes place through them magnetizing together and getting close enough just energetically to exchange. It's like if you're an empath, before you even walk through a door in a house, you can feel if there's going to be disruption or not in the house that you're approaching. It's kind of like that. Like you're approaching a soul tribe member. You haven't met them yet. But all of a sudden in your reality, you're learning about Tai Chi or something, or, you know, how to, I don't know, say, for instance, you didn't really think much about your body. You're always thinking about the mind. And then all of a sudden you're now working with the body and you're like, why am I working with my body? It's because this person who has that gift is coming closer and they are already transferring energy, understanding to you. And then when you actually physically meet, this person that had the lack of doesn't have the lack of anymore. So you're actually meeting as a whole. Something's happening with that. In 2025, as we get closer together to unification of the missions. So the missions are going to start to explode. They're showing me really big, like, collaborations that are coming together, unified to uplift humanity. You will do the job that you wanted, that you've always been passionate about. That would always be your job that you step into. So what you step into is the passion that you already have, but you now know the lack of that you didn't have before you met the tribe member as well. So there's a wholeness that comes together just for you as well. So yeah, because they're showing me it's not about a codependency relationship when it comes to tribe members. It's about two whole people knowing themselves so well that they automatically, energetically share their gifts. It just happens, and they don't. So one might go, I've always known about Tai Chi or yoga, or I always did that. And the other one's like, I just learned that. So now we can do it together. And the other one's like, I didn't know anything about my mind and how to control my mind, but just before I met you, I've learned how to control my mind. That sort of thing. See, the exchange is happening because the magnetism is pulling together of the people. There's going to be also, they're showing me, there is specific amounts of tribe members that had to be a specific amount that come together to create a circle. The reason why it creates a circle is because it creates a torus field. Because if you put a magnet that's a circle magnet on light, you will see the pattern of the torus field created. So when we come together, we are whole, divine, our own sovereign energies pulled together that are so, there's nothing, the matrix outside that was pulled over the wall of humanity's eyes cannot infiltrate a whole energy field of sovereign people. That's really cool. I like that message. That's really cool. So you have your own torus field around you. Then when you come together with the tribal members, you create your own another torus field around the energetic pattern of the mission, and everybody has their part to play in that mission. And everyone knows that their value is just as valuable as the other. Say one person gets up on stage and does all the talking, they're not seeing it any more value than the person that's, you know, in the background fixing the dresses and stuff like that. No one is more, there is no more importance, and you know that when you're in your soul tribe member, because each person has a value that is gifting the world. It's kind of like, in my family, I have a daughter that is extremely grounded, and she like, if to see her, she's just an ordinary person going on her daily jobs and doing a daily thing. But whenever I come into contact with her, I am grounded. I am centered as well. There's a grounding that she pulls in, and it's important for me to have that within my reality. If I didn't have that, then I would pretty much just, no one would understand me. No, I wouldn't be grounded enough to understand other people that are grounded, and so I wouldn't be able to relay all these messages. So everything is perfect, see? So there's no better or worse. I don't see her as any less or more value than me. She's exactly the same. We're all exactly the same value in that respect, but we each have different parts to play. So let people be the passion that they are moving towards. And I mean, it will automatically happen. Even I don't even need to really suggest it, because when it really happens, when you do meet those soul tribe members, you wouldn't need a messenger to tell you that that's how it's going to work. It's just going to work. So yeah, Jeannie, that sounds like energies dancing with divine elegance, Bobbie. Nice. Yeah. I am imagining a year full of fearless living, fearlessly meeting new friends from Earth and all around the universe. I'm imagining an ease in our living that allows silence laden with love. Beautiful. That's so cool. Yeah. If you have a word too that you've if you hear a word or you have a word that you don't, that gives you it presses a button, then you have to address yourself with that. Because the person, if they're coming from the, we need to learn to use our intuition to see if the person that we're talking to is coming from their heart or not. If they're coming from their heart and they use a word that you're like, I'll never use that word because that word means rah, rah, rah. And then they use that word and you're like, you know, that's still coming from the logical brain. So you have to readdress yourself and go, you know what, it's not to do with the word, it's to do with the energy behind the word. You can use exactly the same word and have totally different energy behind it. So remember that too. This is helping us become more non-judgmental on other people and their reality. Yes, step away if you feel bad feeling. Absolutely step away. Like, why would you entwine with somebody that gives you a bad feeling? Yeah, something to do with that. Okay. I'm just thinking, is there any more messages? If there's any questions or anything too, I'll open the board. I'm saying again. I'm trying not to say again. I'm going to catch myself because I am going to stop this. And if I have to be vulnerable live by saying, nah, we'll stop it. I'm going to stop it. Once I get really fixated on something and I decide, that's it. That's one good thing about me. Okay, any more messages that are coming through? There is going to be contact happening in 2025. 2026 is another big year. 2025 more is a transitional year. It's going to come up and down because there's going to be some mixed up messages of what contact is, what's real, what's not, all that sort of stuff. People are going to have to learn to come into their alignment with their intuition and find out what the truth is from their own sovereign self. This is what the lesson of 2025 is. Learn to be your own self-abundance and your own self-awareness and your own everything to do with you and yourself and your intuition and that sort of thing. So there's going to be a lot of crazy, like what is going on out there. We don't even know what we can trust, what we can't trust, what's AI, what's drones, what's blue beam, what's real, what. It's just, and there's a lot more of that's going to be whirling around. They're showing me like a tornado now with all of that sort of stuff just whirling around. They want us to stay in the central space of South, in the inside of that tornado, and just move with the tornado. So you never get whirled around with that story. Sightings, there's not only going to be sightings, there's also going to be people who are going to speak to the dead. That's interesting. The dead's going to show up more as well because there's going to be an unveiling of the fact that no one actually passes over, that the energy still exists within the vortex of the person that's loved. And so that means that those people that have passed on can actually come and have actual conversation with you as spirit balls. So yeah, it's an opening of the elemental world, communication with animals and understanding them more. All of this is going to start to ramp up. There's a lot more that's going to start to ramp up. It's really fun. Stay in the eye, brilliant. Yeah. Because even in the eye, like if you can't stay in the eye and go, I stay here, like, because the tornado then moves, and as it moves, you're caught in the whirlwind again, right? So it's kind of like they're saying, stay in the eye, but stay in the flow. Because, you know, you'll get an intuition. Oh, I have to move over here. Oh, I have to move over here. Oh, I'm needed over here. don't fixate on the story of, if I go to that country and that place, that's where all the mayhem's happening. Oh my God. Just go with love. Go with love. Wherever you go. I can't go into I'm invited to next door neighbors and I feel to go, but last year I wouldn't even want to go there. But there might be a reason why you go there. But if you go anywhere, go with love. Keep going with love. That's move through your life with love. Any other messages, please, for today? I think that's the end of it. Yes. I will do a tarot reading on Thursday. And if anyone didn't see my video yesterday, it was all to do with how to meet benevolent off-world beings. There was greetings and stuff and all that sort of thing that came up. So if you want to go look at that video, if you missed that video, I'm doing more videos at the moment, guys. So look out for the new ones in between. And share away. I don't care who sees, share away. Yeah, I think that's all, though. I think we'll leave it there. Okay, guys, until Thursday. I will definitely see you on Thursday. Looking forward to meeting you all on the 8th of January. And yeah, there is a community chat. If you go down my community chats, there is a link there with my website, my email on it. If you want to email me, I will give you the Zoom call as soon as possible. Link. Okay, guys, until next time, bye.